Well, hello everyone. That was a match filled with highs and lows, and although the scoreboard might not reflect it, that was actually a very respectable performance from Tottenham Hotspur in their clash with Aston Villa. Despite the final result not quite swinging in our favour, there's a lot to discuss and celebrate from our team's performance on the pitch, I feel. From the get-go, it was clear the lads were determined to give it their all. The energy, the precision in passing, the relentless attacks demonstrated a spirit that's bound to pay off in the long run. Sure, the final whistle may not have echoed the outcome we hoped for, but the journey is definitely filled with promising moments ahead. I am joined here by Ash and, of course, Austin. And these lads are going to be talking through what they felt about that game. We'll talk about the highs, talk about the lows. We'll talk about who we thought was the man of the match and whether or not we thought that was a just result. So let's get right into it. Hello, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
All right. Well, it's afternoon for us, but it's morning for Ash over in the land of A.
Yeah, but who cares about Ash? He's Welsh and he's in the far side of America. Well, I don't care.
And he was bemoaning something that happened to the American national side yesterday. I was like, what's going on? This man doesn't know his loyalties.
I didn't watch I didn't watch the game. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah. I wasn't bemoaning it. I was just stupid play. You know, you see guys kicking the ball slightly out of play over here. He punted it into the stands.
Wow. Well, let's try and stay on track with the game against Aston Villa that we just watched. I'm going to start with Austin. Could you give me your thoughts on what we just saw?
Yeah. I know it's hard when you lose 2-1, but I actually thought that was a very, very decent performance. Given that we've only got half a team, given that we lost our potentially best midfielder, Bentancur, after about 30 minutes, I thought we put up a very, very good performance. We should have been more clinical. We had chances that we didn't score. We scored 3 offside goals. They scored 1 or 2 offside goals. I can't remember. I've lost track now. But all in all, that was a good performance. I'm happy with the way we're playing. I'm not happy with the results. I'm pissed off. But I thought there were some very, very good performances out there, not least Porro, Udogi, and I thought that young, oh God, I've forgotten his name, the lad that we signed from Notts Forest looked very, very good indeed.
Brennan Johnson, yeah.
Brennan Johnson, yes, of course.
I thought there was some really nice flicks and bits and pieces that he was involved in. I think still that final ball isn't quite there.
No.
And I think potentially we missed having a target in the box to aim at time. Not from long balls, but when we were actually cutting it back from the byline. And I didn't think we were cutting it back from the byline enough. We had Brian Gill, who started his first match of the season.
Yeah.
And he kept on cutting in, and I was asked, just go to the byline and whip it back. That's what we need you to do. You know, some proper wing play. And he should be able to do that, but I mean, he's all left foot.
Son didn't commit to it.
Yeah, he's all left foot, but he wanted to keep coming in and try and use his right, or make life hard for himself, which just seemed a bit weird. But I mean, we saw some fantastic play there. Ash, what did you think?
Well, I'm a bit despondent. I feel tragedy. I feel like I'm in a Shakespearean tragedy. What else? I'm actually trying to recall the lines from The Birdcage where Nathan Lane explains how bad he's feeling. But apart from that, it was a great performance in the first half, particularly. I'm you know what? I expected this. I think we might even be on for 4 losses in a row next week. And it is primarily because of all these unbelievable injury list, just unbelievable. It's a total bad luck, and I felt it today. Just Bentancur was fantastic. Those passes over the top, those seeing eye passes, we were looking lovely, you know, in the first half until that horrible tackle by whatever that fellow's name was,
Matty Cash. Yeah,
Matty Cash. I'm expecting this is going to go on a little bit. It's just difficult to get beyond the reality of having so many injuries. And yet I feel proud of the lads and Ange for giving it a real go.
Yeah, that's kind of where, I mean, we've known all along that this season is a project season. You know, there's a lot that needs to be worked on still. However well we've done, and we've done really well this season. But you just look at the football we're playing now. And I mean, I saw an interview with Sonny in the week, and they said to him, "What can you expect?" And he said, "You can expect us to get better at what we're doing." And you're like, "Well, hang on, this can get better because we're pulling sides apart at times, and we were doing that today. If we just managed to get that offside trap right, we'd scored 4 or 5."
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, it's kind of difficult to be down after a match like that. I'll be honest. You know, I've got a mate who's a Villa fan. I was chatting to him on Facebook, and you know, right afterwards, well, before the match, we'd both said that we'd take a point because I think Villa are a good side and they're going to beat other good teams this year. And right after the start of 10, 15 minutes in, he wrote to me and he said, "Can I still have that point? Because you're all over us." And I was like, "Yeah, there's a long way to go yet." Unfortunately, I was right. But I mean, there were some things in there that were very, very encouraging for us, and it took a really good finish from Ollie Watkins to score past Vicario. That people shouldn't underestimate the difficulty of what he did there. You know, he killed it dead one touch and just immediately took it and hit it so sweetly. You know, you're not going to get many strikers hitting a ball that sweetly and knocking it past Vicario with such ease.
It was very Harry Kane.
It was pretty Harry Kane-ish, maybe a bit more pace. But yeah, I thought he could have got more today, actually. He was somewhat unlucky. He could have got more. There was one point where he was through and he actually like stubbed his toe into the ground and nearly fell over. But yeah, it was a game we can take a lot from, I feel.
I think one of the positives that I took from today's game was Gio Lo Celso, because I thought he was very, very good for while it was on. I think that's probably the best game he's had for us in the league.
The best game since the COVID period, certainly, since the restart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he had a run of games under Jose Mourinho, where he was best player on the pitch for 5 games or so. We started to see that today, but he was getting the ball and he was able to run at people and lay the ball off when he'd drawn people in. I thought that's what he's good at.
You mentioned one touch. There were a couple of times when there were one touches with Lo Celso, and he received the ball and laid it off immediately. And I just thought that was absolute quality. And we had a few examples of one-touch football, and one we should have scored in the second half. I think it was. I can't remember now. But I thought some of the quality of our football was absolutely excellent, as good as I've seen us play for a long, long time. Even with half a team.
We put on a very, very good display there, and that was effectively our B side. I think. I mean, you got to look at it. Our central defense. Those aren't our central defenders. They're 2 fullbacks as well. I mean, then that's not their position.
Yeah.
We would rather not be playing those guys, let's be honest. Our midfield, we had 3 players, one of whom's just coming back from a very, very long-term injury. And unfortunately, he got injured. But I thought that was the turning point when he got injured, because we were definitely the better side up to that point. We were all over them, completely dominant.
We were the better side for the entire match. I mean, even in the second half, without Bentancur, we actually had more of the play than they did. They were more clinical than us, but I thought in general terms, as a team, we were better.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stats now. I mean, first half it was pretty strongly ours, I feel. The second half, though, they came much more into it. In total, it was 18 shots for us and 15 for them. 8 shots on target against 5 for Aston Villa. But corners, we had 9 corners. I think most of which came in the last 5 minutes, I suspect, because that was a little bit nuts. Whereas they only had 3, which was pretty good because they are a side well known for using set pieces to their fullest, as we saw from their first goal.
I think our lack of height didn't help us in the second half. I think Davies was probably the tallest person in our team in the second half, and he's only 6'1" or something like that. I think we could have done with maybe Dyer up there, because he is pretty commanding with his head, because we did get crosses in.
Yeah, I think the second goal, you look at that and you go, maybe that's a situation where you could have a player like Dyer, because no one really seemed to take charge.
No,
No one stepped in on Tielemans, which I thought was disappointing. It gave him all the time to get the pass into Watkins, and nobody got close to Watkins. Nobody, stepped in. Nobody made it difficult for him. He had the time to take a very good touch and a very good finish, but he had the time to do those things. And the ball from Tielemans was extremely good.
yeah.
As I said in the group chat, this is what happens when you don't take your chances. We had 3 goals ruled out, all of them for offside.
Hit the post twice.
Hit the post twice. Well, they hit the post as well, to be fair,
Right.
and came very close to getting an own goal off Vicario as well. Very lucky there. But yeah, I can't feel too upset. I watched this game and I think, okay, we've got players who haven't played a lot this season, who haven't been starters for us, who are just coming back from injury, a heavily rotated side. And we put in that kind of performance where we were, in my opinion, the better side, apart from taking our chances. And of course, that is where it counts. I don't want to disparage Aston Villa at all, because they played the game the way they wanted to play the game, and they took the chances they had, which ended up winning them the game.
We also have to say that Martinez made a couple of excellent saves.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant.
The save from, was Højbjerg that he saved from?
Højbjerg, yeah.
That was a cracking save. And the save from Johnson just before that was also a good save.
Yeah.
And Vicario obviously made a couple of good saves as well. But I thought that in general terms, when you go to a game, if you look at that game, you'd probably have expected us to have won it 3-2. We lost it 2-1, but you would have expected the result to have been 3-2 from a game like that, because they did have chances in the first half. They had chances in the first 5 minutes. But I thought our attacking play was so good, really did. And when you think that we were without our 2 central defenders, I mean, that is a big, big loss. We were without our most creative player, Maddison, which is a big, big loss. And you just can't compensate for that. You look really can't. And
you look at this side,
did.
the core of our side was missing. 2 central defenders, 3 central midfielders. The absolute core. Yeah, Bissouma, Sarr,
yes.
All of those players were missing. So yeah. Ash, how do you come away feeling about this? Come on, you've been a bit quiet.
Yeah, well, can't get a word in there.
There's a bloody first, Ash.
The lineup kind of shocked me because they didn't start the coverage until right before game time, and I was pleasantly pleased and kind of shocked that he went for such an attacking formation. Not that we had many options. Yeah, we did actually. We could have been just a lot more defensive, I mean, imagine, it doesn't surprise me, Royale at centre back, Davis at centre back, and then putting Brian Hill in there as well. It's like, what? I thought Kulusevski was actually my man in the match. I thought.
Mine too.
Yeah. He worked his socks off. He hit the post, some nice crosses. He looked like he was a bit more confident on trying his shots. But did you notice that he was almost playing in the central role with Johnson on the right and Heel on the left? And I think some of us have been calling to see him in that position because he might be, apart from Bentancur, our most creative player in the middle like that. So I'd like to see him back there again. Bentancur, that could be horrible. I mean, it really could. What if it's a reoccurrence of what happened? And we really don't. Well, Bissouma will be back. That's good. We're just so bare bones with all these injuries. And Ange is probably going to be doing the same thing against Man City. He probably is. What did you guys think about the lineup? I mean, instead of playing Dyer, he put Royale in, you know, and then he put
That I was expecting. I expected that.
why?
Why? Because I felt that having Royal at the back with a little bit more pace would actually benefit us against Watkins. I'm pretty sure I said it in the last pod we did. I expected that. I didn't. I've been talking about Kulusevski central since the start of the season, since before the start of the season, because I think he's potentially our most creative midfielder after Maddison. And I was very, very happy to see him play in that role. I thought he was superb at times. And he's so unlucky not to score. So unlucky. Yeah. But again, the problem was, who do you play outright if you play him? I mean, yes, we can move Johnson over there, and I thought he did very well. But then who do you play left? Gill, I'm still yet to be impressed by Gill. I can see why people like him. He's got that prancing pony look about him where he's great on the ball, he twists and turns, but what has he done? What has he produced? Has he scored any goals? Has he actually put in the ball in any dangerous areas? So far, I can't think of any one time where he's done that.
Well, he did put the cross in for Son, and Son didn't attack the ball in the way that he might have done, and he should have.
Was that the one where it's behind him and he kind of had to divvy his step?
One where Gill went to the left third, and he put a cross in, and Son left, and he was inches away from the header. It was a really good ball. I think that Hill is lacking a bit of confidence, and there was once today when he got the ball and he managed to turn the with his back to the defender, and he actually went round him eventually. I think we're yet to see the best of Brian Hill. I think he's got the talent, and I think he could be a very, very good player.
I hope so. I genuinely hope so, because
of course
we're going to need good players up until January at least.
Yes,
and I don't know about you, I do not see a huge influx of players coming in January. It's just not the way we work. So
yeah, I agree.
I can see a couple of players coming in January. Certainly a central defender.
Defender, I think, is the priority above anything else. And we've seen so many names being linked. I think I read an article today where 6 names were linked. And only, I think 3 of them were in the Premier League. 2 of them were from Everton, Branthwaite and I can't remember the other guys. The other central defender for one of the other central defenders for Everton. I'd have to look his name up.
Then there's a guy from Crystal Palace that we've been
Gahey, yeah.
I don't even rate him particularly. He's all right, but I don't get excited about it. But there again, I wasn't particularly excited by VDV, and he's turned out to be an absolute star. So I'm going to shut up on.
What do we think about 3 losses now? Could be 4. Is Ange still going to continue playing as he did today?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, I've already thought this out because we're in 5th now. We might slide it a little bit further down. I think because of the injuries, and as Oz just says, as Stu said, so kind of thin in key areas. This may be, what did you call it? A project season, Stu?
Yeah.
And we could drop out of that running, maybe still in, I said before the season, not top 4, maybe in Europe. Perhaps, because I just figured some bad shit would happen, and it has. So what do we think about Ange? What's he going to do? Is he continue on with this with his Ange ball proactive approach? And who was talking this week about pragmatic? Should we be more pragmatic in our approach to games, or what?
No one here. That was Matt. Matt was talking about being
a
bit more pragmatic. Right? Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything. It was Matt. I don't want to disagree with Matt.
Naturally. But I don't think that. There was a great quote from Postecoglou this week, and he said, "It's like I went into the library of football tactics, and I just got stuck in the attacking section."
He said that?
Like, yeah, he said that. Great. I was like, I love that. And I mean, that's what I want to see from my Spurs manager. What I want to see from Spurs, one of the many reasons I'm a Spurs fan is I love attacking football.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's kind of part of what we are as a club. And if we're going to be trying to drag games out 1-0, I don't want to be seeing that. I'd rather lose a game today 2-1 where we've actually put in something, we've had a go, than win some of the matches we won under Conte or Mourinho where it was complete dirge. It was a nightmare.
About 40
don't
minutes.
want to be watching games like that.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I'll bring you back as soon as it's finished.
There you go. Austin's
Bye.
on the phone. Shh, Austin's on the phone.
Sorry.
Yeah. So what's coming up? What are we gonna? What if Bentancur is out? Holy jeez! You know, you could see the difference.
That's not a bad injury. Bentancur will be back.
He'll be back. He'll be fine. I think that was a precautionary move. I think, you know, they're saying, right, he's just come back from this long-term injury. It's going to take him time to get fully up to speed. He's taken a bit of a knock here. Let's not risk it.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's hope, because he was terrific. Some of his passes were just sublime, you know.
And some of his dribbling as well. He really is very good the way he goes past players.
What did somebody call him last year? A Rolls Royce on the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is, you know. And I think we need a player like that, because the other guys, Skip and Hojbjerg, a little bit more workmanlike. And although
fairness to Hojbjerg, I thought he was quite good when he came on today. He was better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, but still, you know, to my point, he's not Bentancur or Madison. We were missing Sarr and Basuma. Basuma without yellow cards hanging on his shoulder, and Sarr with whatever injury. So we will be better against City. We might actually even give them a go, but we got to score goals though.
we'll definitely give them a game. We give everyone a game. We just, you know, we've got to take the chances that come our way and maybe cut out a little bit of the sloppiness at the back. And I think there was sloppiness. You know, one of the things that Ange keeps saying is we've got to press, you've got to keep going, you don't give them time on the ball. And we gave Aston Villa time on the ball, and they hurt us. So what can you do about that? You know, that's down to mentality of the players not following the tactical thing. And that's exactly what I felt against Wolves. You know, why I came out and I had a bit of a go at the side. I didn't think the side carried out what Ange sent them out there to do. And I thought it was on them.
But they did today.
Today, I thought we saw much more of an Ange Postecoglou side where they actually tried to play the right kind of football. There were a few moments, like their second goal, where we should have pressed harder. We should have pressed, you know, with more intensity, and we shouldn't have given them the space they did. But, you know, it's a project season. So it's a year where players are still learning. Players are coming in and they're having to change everything they've learned from their previous managers.
Stu, given that you said that a project season, have you readjusted your expectations for the whole season? When you say project, what does that mean? Does that mean getting into Europe? Does it mean, you know, outside the top four, or what, you know?
I'm pretty sure I said we'd finish fifth at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to stick to that. I didn't even know at the time that fifth would probably get you a Champions League place. But, you know, for me, qualifying for Europe is not going to be the be all and end all about this season. It's about preparing ourselves, setting ourselves up for the future. You know, we've done so well just to show what we can do as a club. And if anything, if I'm going to reassess what I think, I'm going to be looking upwards. I'm not going to be looking down. Because once we get past this blip, and it is a blip, you know, we've got Man City next, then West Ham. West Ham, we can give them a game. Newcastle, that won't be easy, but we can give them a game. Nottingham Forest, Everton, we should be looking for 6 points from that one. You know, there's going to be runs of games where we can actually get back into the flow, where we can be doing things. The confidence will come back again, and we will be absolutely fine. And I would be very happy with fifth. I would take eighth. I would take eighth again, but eighth with better football than we had last year. I don't think we're going to finish there, but I would take it because I think we're going to be prepared and we're going to be set up so much better for next season than we were this year.
I won't take anything less than fourth. I'll be pissed off if we don't finish in the top four.
So we don't finish top four. What happens? Do you want to sack the manager or?
Oh
what's
God, no,
the-
no, no, no,
There
no.
we go. See, where do you take it?
No, I'll be pissed off if we don't finish top four because I'm expecting top four. Given that we've got half a team playing at the moment, and today we should have won that game 3-2 or 4-3 or 5-4. We played really, really good football, but we did have a lot of players out, including losing Benton Kerr after 30 minutes or whatever it was. He was our best player. When you lose your three most creative midfielders, Benton Kerr, Bissouma, and Maddison, and you still play the other team better, then I expect as we get our players back and after the January window, if we don't finish top four, I'll be very surprised.
I'm more in your thinking, Stu, that I'd like to get into Europe. I don't understand what you said about the top five, fifth, but I'm sure you'll tell me that in a second. But yeah, I've been imagining, we could slide even further down. Why? Not because of the way we're playing, but because with these injuries, what if Betancourt? What if somebody else? What if Sonny goes? And then let's not forget, January, Sarr and Bissouma gone, and Sonny's gone. Of course, he hasn't scored in the last few games, so he's not contributing that way.
He scored 3 times today.
He's not contributing in the last few games. So there isn't. So it could be what Stu said about maybe we could slide down a little further, and that's just reality. That's not like me being despondent or pessimistic. That's just the reality of the situation. Very competitive league, and we're unfortunately in a bad situation with these injuries.
Yep. Just to clarify, 5th position could get a Champions League place this year because there's an extra Champions League spot going to the league with the highest coefficient, which is currently the Premier League.
Oh, there you go. All right.
So that's where it could go. And, if we manage to sneak in that way, I ain't going to complain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've done that now. There was some other news today, which was a bit sadder. There was news of Terry Venables' death. Now, I will be honest, Terry Venables as a Spurs player, Spurs manager, Spurs chief executive was before my time. So, my memories of him are as an England manager. And I have to say, very, very fond memories at the time. What he managed to achieve, the way he had us playing some fantastic football and just instilled some joy of the game back into English football at a time where it had been a little bit parochial. Guys, what are your memories of Terry Venables?
I remember Venables signing for Spurs, which I think might have been in 1967.
66,
I've been
I
a Spurs
believe.
supporter for 4 or 5 years by that time.
66.
Was 68?
66.
Okay. Well, he was just a very good, what was in those days called an inside forward. So an 8 or a 10 were the same in those days. You didn't have the same definition. You had played with 2 wingers, and Venables was a very, very good footballer that scored a handful of goals, not a lot of goals, but he was just a good footballer. But he was always 100%. But as a Spurs manager, and that's what I remember him most for, I guess, he adjusted his tactics to suit the team he was playing. And he was very, very, very good. And I was so sorry that he got involved in business because it was a little bit dodgy. I mean, it was a bit like Harry Redknapp on steroids when it came to being dodgy. But as a manager, he was very good. He set his teams up well. He got teams playing well. And he was always competitive. And he won us our last FA Cup.
Yeah.
That's a moment. Actually, he played in the 67 FA Cup, I believe, and that was the first cup that I saw Spurs play from Newport in Wales, and he'd come over like Greavesy from Chelsea, so he's a Chelsea lad actually. But the moment that really sticks out, going back to what you just said, Oz, and I heard Venas talk about this when they were walking out before the FA Cup final against Nottingham Forest, and Cloughy was the opposing manager, and they're looking pretty good. Cloughy started saying some stuff, and Venables is just cracking up. He can't resist cracking up, and he said, "Yeah, you would not believe the things that Cloughy was saying," and it was just such a nice moment. Two managers are going to go head to head. Having that moment, one of the best managers in Cloughy, and great Spurs legend, Venables. And I remember that so much. I go, gee, I wish I'd been a fly on the wall of that particular conversation. You know, I remember that. And that wasn't he? He was manager when England did pretty well at those Euros in
Euro 96.
96. And we could have won it. We could have won it that year, right?
We should have won it.
Breadth of a goalpost.
Right. Yeah. And that was when Gaza was fantastic then, right?
Gaza, excellent. McManaman, Anderton, of course, from Spurs.
Sheringham.
Yeah, Sheringham, Shearer. If anybody here has not anybody here, but anybody watching has never seen the game before, and they want to have an idea of what Terry Venables' England side was about, you look up that Euro 96 game where they played against the Netherlands. That was an amazing game, and I remember screaming myself hoarse. I just loved that game so much. It was brilliant.
I still think that is the best performance I've seen England have in an international match since the 1966 World Cup. I know we beat Germany 5-1 once, but that was
that was a pretty good game as well, to be fair.
it was pretty good, but I thought the England-Netherlands game, the overall performance was fantastic. And the combination of Shearer and Sheringham up front was just sublime. Really was.
Is that the game? Didn't Gaza score an incredible goal in that one too? Was that the game?
No, it was the Scotland game. He scored his best goal.
No, the Scotland game was that goal was fantastic. I was happy to say I managed to recreate that in a match a few weeks later. You know, but hey.
Yeah, another thing about Venables, there's that classic photo of Dave Mackay grabbing that cur, I think he called him,
Billy Bremner,
by the shirt, the scruff of his shirt, and there's a Spurs player coming towards them, and it's Venables. He's right there. Oh, that's Terry Venables in that classic photo. You know the story behind that, don't you? Yeah, he'd broken.
Dave Mackay had broken his leg twice, and in his comeback game, Bremner cleaned him out, and that's what caused that. Because Dave Mackay was a hard player, but he wasn't a dirty player, and he was so upset with Bremner, who was his Scotland teammate, that he.
And people need to remember, these are the days where one broken leg could end your career. To break your leg twice and come back was pretty much unheard of.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
By the way, that foul by what is that guy who yellow carded? The guy who fouled Bentancur today. What was his name?
Matty Cash.
Matty Cash, yes.
That was such a horrible tackle.
It was a yellow card tackle, though. It wasn't a red card.
But it was he
had a couple of moments later on where I thought he's going to walk here with second yellow. But all right, okay. I don't want to talk about Aston Villa anymore. What I'd like to do now, gentlemen, if you could just accompany me, is a round of applause for Terry Venables. Best thoughts for his family, and we'll just finish on that today. So until then, come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, great man, Terry Venables.
A great character as well. A lot of